Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. So, we got some pretty exciting news coming from DC and Marvel. I'm excited to share with them to you and to go over them. So, yeah, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you guys are enjoying my content. It would greatly be appreciated. So, yeah, let's go over them. Starting off with Marvel. So, Marvel has announced that they're kind of moving their release dates for the Disney Plus series. So, let's go over them one by one. So starting off with Loki, Loki will be holding its October 6th release date, which is great news for me because personally I've been enjoying the Loki series. The Loki series, the first season. It was really one of the best Marvel Studios shows for sure. Really excited for this one. I'm excited to see how this will progress the multiverse storyline that we're in because to be honest, this multiverse story has been somewhat messy. Like there's been no progress really. As compared to the Infinity Saga where each movie was really pushing that narrative forward of Thanos and the Infinity Stones. With this multiverse, I wasn't really getting that. You had some movies really dealing with the multiverse, No Way Home and Doctor Strange, but they weren't even though they were about the multiverse, they weren't really pushing the narrative of the entire saga, right? Like you weren't seeing that push forward towards Kang and how the lead up to Avengers and how that's gonna be. So I'm really hoping that this one will really push that forward. And I'm low key, no pun intended. I'm low key hoping that we'll see like some tease to Deadpool because Deadpool's set to release next year and Deadpool is gonna be about traveling the multiverse. So I do see some connection there, and would be cool to see, some kind of tease there. Moving on, we have What If, which announced a December 2023 release date for their season 2. Pretty excited for this as well. It's an anthology, so if you guys haven't seen it, What If is basically Marvel's anthology series where they talk about animated series where each episode highlights on a different character, spinning them on a what if scenario, what if Black Panther was Star-Lord and so on and so forth. Fun show to watch, they're not necessarily connected to the live action story, but seeing as how we're now dealing with the multiverse, there could be a possibility, there is a possibility that some character we'll see in the what if might spill over to Avengers Secret Wars when that movie comes out. So, pretty excited for that one as well. Next up, Echo. Echo has moved from a November 29 release date to a January 2024. You know what? With this one, I don't know why this show is happening. Who even asked for this show? Like, when I was watching She-Hulk, that did not come to my mind whatsoever. Wait, was it She-Hulk? No, Hawkeye. When I was watching Hawkeye, she was great. Standout role. I would love to see more of her. I'm sure we're gonna see her more in like Avengers, in the Young Avengers movie that I'm sure they're gonna announce. Kingpin was there. I'm excited to see him in the Daredevil show once again. But Echo, who asked for this? When I saw her, when she was on screen, her entire screen presence was nothing. Her character was bland, was useless. I don't get it, and I just feels like again a waste to like have this show, and I feel like Marvel's just wasting time and resources. They could be just using it to just like allocating it on a show or movie that's even more worthwhile telling that would push the narrative of the multiverse saga, right? This show feels so useless. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if anyone's excited for it, but like I don't see the reason for this. So if it gets moved, fine with me. I don't really care. If it gets canceled, that's great also. Not great. I'm sure people are working, very hard for the show, but like as a viewer, I really wouldn't mind if this show never airs as well. Next up, we have XMen 97 moving from a fall 2023 to an early 2024. Now this one kind of sucks. I haven't really watched the 1990s show, from start to end. I was like really young when it came out, but I have seen some eps of it because my brothers would watch it when they were young, and I would see scenes of it, but not enough for me to really remember the storyline. What I do remember, the animation was great, the costumes iconic. Like when I think of X-Men, I think about those costumes, the blue and yellow and all that, and of course the theme song. And it kind of sucks that this got moved because I really wanted to like get immersed in that world, that X-Men universe they built in the 90s. So it kind of sucks that they moved it. And more than that, I was really thinking here, this is just a little theory of mine as well, that the X-Men 97 might be the X-Men we see in the MCU. How I'm seeing it is like, for whatever reason, either time travel, multiversing travel or whatever, but I see that the X-Men will end up being transferred to the mainline MCU, so that way you get a nostalgia factor from the old show, and then you're moving into the current MCU. I think that could be cool. I don't know if it could be explained properly. It's just a theory of mine, not based on any facts or whatever, but it could be a cool idea, right? So sucks it's moving, but I'm still very much excited for this. Yeah. So moving on, we have Agatha. So Agatha is scheduled for a 2024 release date. So this one, kind of how I feel about with Echo. Although with Agatha, she was fun to watch. I mean, I'll give her that, right? She had her song Agatha all along. That was really fun. And every time she was on screen with Elizabeth Olsen, there was some cool, back and forth there. Her chemistry was great. Her screen presence was great for sure. But I don't see how this also. But again, I reserve my judgment, but like to change, when I know more about this plot. But like, I don't know what this show is about. Like, what in the for the big picture of this multiverse saga, like what is it gonna do progressing the story forward? Because that's where I'm at now with Marvel, right? Because they're releasing so many shows and movies, I'm already like so into this idea that, okay, when you release something, how is this part of your narrative, the narrative you're trying to tell as a whole? Because if it has no contribution to the narrative, I don't want any of it. Now, okay, I understand also, like, you're gonna say, like, hey, but it's nice to get some stories, about not necessarily connected to the main storyline. That's cool. But the thing is, we've been doing it too much already. I think we need to scale back. Like, focus first on the main narrative and then learn your lessons of, like, okay, how many stories can you tell that's outside of the main story, right? Because they went too far. Now they kind of just need to scale back, basically. But yeah, overall with Agatha, not really that excited, aside from the fact that, we might see Elizabeth Olsen, which I'm pretty excited, huge fan of hers, and it would be cool to see what happens to her after Doctor Strange, where she was presumed dead, so maybe we could get some kind of explanation there, so that'd be cool. So aside from those shows that have moved release dates, there are some shows also that have been held indefinitely due to the writer's strikes. So shows like Daredevil, Born Again is on pause. Their production is on pause due to the strike, which is very sad to hear because very, very excited for this one. I'm a huge fan of Netflix's Daredevil. They did that show perfectly. The casting of Matt Murdock is great, and Kingpin is great, and it's great to see that they're both coming back. The only reservations I have is that this might not be an R-rated show, and that's one of the things I really enjoyed with Daredevil, is that aside from just the gore, the violence, they were dealing with very, very adult-oriented themes, and it really just worked well with the character Daredevil, and I hope that Disney's able to still tell an adult story if they don't go with an R-rated rating. But yeah, this one sucks that it's still held due to the strike, because I would really love to see Kingpin back. Kingpin is so fun to watch on screen. Although he was weak in Hawkeye, I'm confident that he's gonna be done well here in Daredevil Born Again. Next up, we have Wonder Man. So Wonder Man, I don't know anything about him, but I am excited for this show because it does star Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who is a really great actor. He was great in Aquaman, and I think he was in that Netflix show. I think the one with that music show, and that's where he stood out for me. The Get Down. I think he was in the Get Down. So great actor. Love to see more of him. And I also love, from what I know of the character, quick Wikipedia search. Right, he is an actor who gets superhero powers, and that's fun. That sounds really fun for me. One of the things I like with comic books, superheroes, I love superheroes when you see them balance their job and their day job, their job being, whatever job they have, and then their superhero job. It's fun to see that duality, basically, right? When you have Clark and Superman and Batman and Bruce Wayne, the billionaire, and then Spider-Man, the photographer, which was done really well in Sam Raimi's trilogy, and Spider-Man, right? So this one's very unique. I don't know any hero that we've seen on live action or in shows that has that. He's an actor and a superhero. So a lot of cool, funny scenes I could imagine already. So from that alone, I'm very excited to see how what the story is. But other than that, I'm excited because the show is being the showrunner and the director of the first 2 episodes is Destin Daniel Cretton, who was the director of Shang-Chi and is the director of Avengers Kang Dynasty. So I'm excited for this for 2 reasons. Because one, Shang-Chi was a great movie. Actually, that's one of the great movies of Phase 5 as well. So I really enjoyed Phase 5. I love the action scenes in Shang-Chi. I love the action scenes in Shang-Chi. Directed what's his name? The Shang-Chi actor. Oh man, forgot his name. Tip of my tongue. Freaking, he was in Barbie. But yeah, he knows how to handle his cast. Great cinematography. There was a great soundtrack as well. So I'm very excited to see what Destin will bring to Wonder Man, knowing that he's very capable as a director. And on top of that, I'm excited to see more, like, how worthy is he to be the director of Avengers, the first movie after Endgame. When I watched Shang-Chi, I thought it was a great movie, but I didn't really leave that movie thinking like, hey, he should direct Avengers. So seeing Wonder Man, would give me more insights into like how capable is he? What does Kevin Feige see in him that I haven't seen yet from Shang-Chi? So excited for that for those reasons. And then lastly, we have Iron Heart, which has been held indefinitely as well due to the writer's strike. With this one, exactly like with Echo. So if you guys haven't seen Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, Iron Heart is Riri Williams, and she was okay. She's kind of like, your next Iron Man, which is cool. Her suit looks cool, but like, does she really need her own show? Same thing with Agatha. Do they really need their own show? Like, really 6 episodes, 8 episodes of a character that really wasn't well received, or at most just mid, right? I would think at most you could just give them like a Marvel special presentation, like the Werewolf by Night, like a 1 hour and a half small short movie, right? And I think that would have been enough, right? But like, really 6, maybe 8 episodes just feels too much for a character that isn't really loved, right? And doesn't seem like it would push your once again the multiverse narrative forward, right? Doesn't seem like there's any connection from Ironheart and Echo to leading up to Avengers. So yeah, that's it with our Marvel Studios shows moving of release dates. Some good news, some sad news, and some like I don't really care about. But yeah, how about you guys? Are there any moves and dates that kind of really affected you? If so, comment down below. So yeah, moving on to a second topic regarding the Batman Part 2. So these are all rumors. Nothing has been confirmed by like the major trades, but they've been these are rumors from somewhat credible leakers. Some of these leakers, they'll have scoops that would be true, and sometimes they would be not true. So hit or miss basically. But regardless, let's go over some of them. So first up, it's rumored that the Batman Part 2 will be shooting as early as March next year, which is surprising because there's still that whole writers and actors strike, and we don't know when that will be resolved. It's already August, September, and I don't know if there'll be enough time for them to get the ball rolling. If so, that's great because we could finally really, they could start shooting this movie because this movie is planned to release 2025, the same month as Superman Legacy, although not connected to the DCU. So I hope they get to shoot soon because I'm a huge fan of the Batman, a huge fan as well as of Robert Pattinson's portrayal as Batman and Bruce Wayne. I was initially reserved with being casted as Bruce Wayne, but I immediately got sold shortly after. So yeah, I hope they make that March shoot date. Aside from that, we have a supposed villain cast in Clayface. This one's exciting. I hope this one is true because with Batman, we have at this point seen the Joker way too many times. And I'm a huge fan of Joker. Every Joker portrayal, aside from Leto, has been great. It's always been iconic and fresh and just really truly great roles. Still my favorite is Heath Ledger. But aside from that, we also get so many of these other villains so many times. We've seen Two-Face so many times in TV, movies, cartoons. We've seen Bane multiple times already. We've seen Penguin multiple times already. We've seen Riddler multiple times already. It's about time we see not just a new villain, but a villain that's more supernatural in its abilities, right? Because these villains I mentioned just a while ago, they're all just humans. They're just, they're just like thugs, basically, right? Like gangsters, like Joker and Riddler. They're just like humans that are just crazy and they're just making a mess in Gotham. What I want to see, which we haven't seen since Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze and then Poison Ivy and Bane and Batman and Robin. And then since then, we haven't really seen any villains in a Batman live action wherein there's, supernatural abilities. And Clayface would be really great. And the thing is with Clayface, I think that could be the perfect balance of having a villain with superpowers, but still maintaining that very scary, disturbing vibe that the Batman has set, right? The Batman is set in a very grounded world. It's set in reality, right? And, that's the thing with the Batman, the Batman universe lends itself to that grounded, gritty, real world, right? But I would love to see Batman dip into the more supernatural elements. And I feel like Clayface could be that proper introduction. I could imagine seeing the guy's face melting so morbidly and would just really work well with the world that Matt Reeves has built in this movie, in this franchise of his. So I really hope this one is true. I could imagine this being a murder mystery and you don't know who to trust because Clayface could just change his shape, change his face and change his entire form, and by having Clayface, by introducing a supernatural villain in the Batman, from there you're now able to do even riskier stuff, right? For something a little bit more, a smaller risk such as Clayface, you start with that. You can go to bigger risks, such as you could start doing Killer Croc, you could start doing Man-Bat. I would really love to see that in the Batman. And then so that's that with the villain. And then next up, we have a possible appearance of Dick Grayson. Now, we don't know if he's gonna be a supporting cast or is it just a cameo. But regardless, I feel like this is too soon. I feel like it's way too soon to see Dick Grayson because in the Batman, this is just year 2 of Bruce Wayne as Batman. And to see Dick Grayson, in any shape or form is really too early, I don't see the point of it. It feels very rushed. I wouldn't mind seeing Dick Grayson, maybe in the third movie or if there's a fourth movie. But to be honest, I don't think we're gonna get a full trilogy even. I really think that after the Batman Part 2, James Gunn is just, oh no, we're probably just gonna get a trilogy, and then James Gunn is gonna end the trilogy to make room for the DCU Batman, right? So at least that one's connected to the DCU universe. So at most, I don't think we should see Dick Grayson until the Batman Part 3. You know, so Part 2 feels too soon. Too soon. I still want this to be a story about Bruce Wayne really learning the ropes and growing into the role of the Batman. But yeah, so that's it with our casting updates for casting rumors rather for the Batman. Next up, we have more casting news. This time, once again, for Superman Legacy. That's right. So we have Giancarlo Esposito, who he himself said in an interview in Comic-Con Panama, where he said, "I have been talking to James Gunn about the possibility of being in a movie, so who knows." This one makes me really excited. If you guys don't know already, I am a huge fan of Breaking Bad, and a big reason of that is because of Giancarlo's role as Gus in the show. He played that character really well. He was very cold, quiet, calculated, and was such an amazing, counter and to Jesse and Walter, right? So I mean, and with Giancarlo, he's definitely someone that's fan casted for a lot of roles because he's just such a great actor. In the Marvel side, he's been fan casted as Magneto and Professor X, and he has such a huge following in pop culture, and that's why he's in Star Wars as well, So it would be such a huge win for DC to get to get a loved actor such as Giancarlo Esposito. So yeah, let's go over some of my thoughts on who it could be and who it should be. So initially, I even made an Instagram video about this. I was immediately drawn towards Lex Luthor because his role as Lex Luthor would the role of Lex Luthor, the character Lex Luthor, is pretty much the same as Gus, right? Cold, calculated, methodical. I think I'm saying that word right. It would be great, but one of my followers made a good point. Is that isn't he too old? That's true. He might be on the older side, but it is still possible. But you're right, and he's right, because I would like to see a somewhat younger Lex, so at least you could have, you have the possibility of a physical fight with Lex if ever he wants to get on that Lex suit and fight Superman. That would be cool. And you'd want a Lex, that would last for a long time, because the Superman franchise, ideally we would see it last for a long duration of films, right? And this DCU is an 8 to 10 year plan, and you'd want your actor to be able to reprise a role for the years to come. And Giancarlo's in his 60s, so I understand that argument, but still part of me really still wants to see it because it's such a great opportunity. But aside from that, another possibility is Martian Manhunter, and now this one, that's a great one. That's someone that has been suggested as well by a lot of fan castings. We really haven't seen any proper. Fine. We have seen Martian Manhunter in the Supergirl show. Great. We've seen him in the Zack Snyder cut, and we've seen him in Smallville before. That one was fun. But we've never really seen him in live action movie properly, right? And it's about time that we do. He's a great character, and he adds this new element to the group. Really, he really feels like. When Superman feels like an outsider, Martian Manhunter even feels more of an outsider, I would say. So I could see conversations with Clark, really fun, deep conversations with Clark, and that would be cool to see. And the voice of Martian Manhunter, whenever I think of his voice, I think of someone that's just very authoritative, knows what he's saying, he's smart, and Giancarlo Esposito really gives off that vibe. And Martian Manhunter is, he comes off as this person who just he's been through a lot, because Mars, I think it was the entire planet even, right? Did it blow up or it went on fire? He lost his entire race basically, and I could just see Giancarlo bringing that heaviness to the role. So those are two characters I think he could play, who he should play, I would give it fine. I would give it to. I've switched already. I think it really should be Martian Manhunter. That way he could still, voice the role for a long amount of years, and at the same time he could do the physicality of it because they could just have a mocap suit with a different actor. So that would be pretty cool. And lastly, we have a rumored cast for the Authority. Now, I think everyone has to take this with a grain of salt because we're still, Hollywood is still in the midst of the writers and actors strike. So it's not like James Gunn could be casting people right now. So the only way this could be true is if it was casted before the strike. But it doesn't seem like that could be true because, I don't think he would have time. There's no script even for the Authority unless they're gonna be in Superman Legacy. And in that case, that's the villain. That's who Superman's going up against, right? So yeah, let's go over them because this is a stacked cast. All right. So first up, I don't know anyone in the Authority. I don't know a single character. I just know that there's Apollo and Midnighter, and they're a gay couple. So this would be, I think, our first live action gay couple in comic books. So that's cool. Aside from that, I don't know anyone. I'm excited though because James Gunn seems confident in this. He's very excited to introduce the Authority. The fans are excited about the Authority. They're saying that it's such a good ensemble of heroes, and then their story and everything. It's really great. So hey, count me in. So yeah, let's go over them. So for Midnighter, we have Sam Worthington, and then Sam Worthington's partner is rumored to be Alexander Skarsgård. And then we have Keira Knightley as Jenny Sparks, Gerard Butler as Jack Hawksmoor, Kiki Palmer as the engineer, and Riz Ahmed as the doctor. And for the villain in the Authority in their movie would be Ken Watanabe. So, alright, let's go over them. Sam Worthington, that's a great one as well. When I think of Sam Worthington, all I think of is Avatar, and that's once every how many years, So I would love to see more of Sam Worthington. I think he's such a great actor. The Man on the Ledge is such an underrated movie. I love it. People should watch it. So it would be great for him to be part of a franchise. He really does have that leading man vibe, and I don't think Hollywood has really taken notice of that yet. So yeah, excited for that one. Alexander Skarsgård is another exciting one. So Alexander Skarsgård has been rumored to be Lex Luthor. So I guess if he wasn't casted as Lex Luthor, maybe James Gunn saw him as a fit for Alexander Skarsgård, which is cool because Alexander Skarsgård, great actor. My real exposure to Alexander Skarsgård was in The Northman, where he is Jack. Dude was really cut. He could do action. He has a physicality. He looks menacing. I don't know if Apollo's supposed to be menacing, but dude, he could look really like superhero figure. And aside from The Northman, definitely saw him in Succession as what's his name, Mattson. And he was great as Mattson. Lex Luthor vibe even, very scary actually. Every time he's on screen, you just don't know what he's gonna do, what he's gonna say. So excited for him to get more opportunities as well. So yeah, next up we have Keira Knightley as Jenny Sparks. I was a huge fan of Keira Knightley before in Pirates of the Caribbean. She was one of my crushes actually before when I was young. So I'm excited to see this one. Yeah, I don't know anything about Jenny Sparks, but I don't mind seeing Keira Knightley once again enter a franchise. That's cool. Next up, we have Gerard Butler's Jack Hawksmoor. This one's cool. Gerard Butler's an actor I feel like never really was able to maintain the fame that he had post 300. He did a bunch of rom-coms. I guess he was trying to diversify, right, his roles, but it didn't really click. But I did see him recently in his movie, which is really fun. Plane, with that actor who played not Iron Fist. That Netflix show with Iron Fist. No. Damn. He was in that Netflix Marvel show. So yeah, Gerard Butler was there, and he was fun to watch there. He was very charismatic, and he could still do action. So I'm excited to see Gerard Butler once again in the live action. in a live action comic book, for sure. So next up we have Keke Palmer. So for Keke Palmer, I'm not really a huge fan of hers. I haven't seen her in much movies really. I think she was in the Jordan Peele movie. Not really a standout for me there. The main standout for me in there were other standouts for me in that movie. What was the movie? Why am I having like brain fart moments today? Up? No, not Up. Inside? No, not Inside. Get Out? No. That was the latest Jordan Peele movie. That one, right? So yeah, and then next up we have Riz Ahmed as the Doctor. No comments on this one. I only know Riz Ahmed from Venom. He was okay there, so that's cool. But this one, the villain, the supposed villain of the Authority, Ken Watanabe. Now this one I'm excited for. Love Ken Watanabe. Could use more Ken Watanabe. So yeah. But the most exciting thing with this rumor is that supposedly the Authority movie, the rumored writer is Drew Goddard, who is the writer of The Martian. The Martian is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's so well written. The comedy, the balance of drama and comedy is so well done. So this part really makes me excited that Drew Goddard might be the writer. But aside from that, the director might be Matthew Vaughn. And that is the most exciting part of this because Matthew Vaughn is such an amazing director. He's the director of Kingsman, the first Kingsman, and maybe Kingsman 2, I think. But this guy is just meant to direct a comic book movie, and it's crazy that he still hasn't directed a movie for DC or Marvel. He's perfect for any, So him alone, him being casted, is something to get excited about, and it's something for you to have confidence in this movie wherein we don't know anyone, any of the cast, any of the heroes. This should just be enough reason to be like, okay, this movie will at least look good. So that part really makes me excited. So yeah, that about wraps it up for all our comic book, DC, Marvel news. A lot of stuff to get excited about, basically. So yeah, what are your thoughts with everything? Are you guys, especially what's on my mind here, do you guys want to see Dick Grayson in the Batman Part 2? Because that's a big no for me, but some people really want to see him because we haven't seen Dick Grayson in a live action movie since the very first one, since the one with George Clooney. But yeah, still too early for me. If so, comment them down below. So yeah, that's about it, guys. Thanks for tuning, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.